What is going on, guys? How you doing? The hands-off protests are today. I'm going to go ahead and put my email in the chat. Some people have already sent me some awesome photos. If you went, you could send me the photos, videos, and we can play them on the next show. I'm really interested to kind of hear about what your experience is. Let's go ahead and play a couple clips. And just for background for people who are going to come in, the protests are, a nationwide series of protests against the Trump administration, against Elon Musk. I've also seen a couple satellite protests going on about other issues like Palestine. So people are showing up to express themselves peacefully. It's great to see. I wish I could be out there covering these. I can't today. So as I've talked about on the show, we all do what we can. This show is a dialogue. That's what I want for it anyway. So I'd really like to know, and I got more sleep last night, so I'm feeling a lot better. Not the required 8 hours, but better than 6, right? I hit that sweet spot. Beck said best clips are from Boss Money. I was checking out Boss Money earlier. Hey, Beck, how you doing? Boss Money. I don't know if you're out there yourself. I saw you posting some clips from some of the characters at Freedom Corner. Since you brought that up, for those who are, by the way, I'm ericlevai. If you don't know who I am, an investigative reporter and a commentator, a raconteur sometimes. So I see that some of the right-wing streamers are out there trying to grift. Ultimately, I don't think that this is probably not the protest where they're going to make money, because what they're always looking for is to agitate people, right, for conflict. And that's unfortunately with something like this, there's just too many people, and it's not. I just realized I'm starving, by the way. I have some food here, and I may rudely eat this food in a second. Yeah, I'm literally about to grab this. Very unprofessional. I apologize. So I see that some of these characters are out there, but ultimately it's just not really going to work, because they're not going to make any money. But Boss Money is posting some great clips, so appreciate you, because there's just too many people. Beck said the right-wing grifters are definitely out there today. Yeah, I saw some of them. I was going to check in on a few of them because I do that, but then I was like, life's too short. Some old tweet I put up like over a year ago I started getting all these weird replies, because I guess one of them found it and then like put it out there. So yeah, I can always like kind of feel my blood pressure growing up a little, just because like what these people do to your brain. So yeah, I saw some of the old Freedom Corner types out there. And for those who don't know, the Freedom Corner was a group of supporters of the January 6th insurrection. Yes, supporters. You heard that correctly. Who would stand in front of the jail in D.C. And there was a bunch of streaming and grifting, and no joke, some of them would literally get, these people who always talk about paid protesters, they would literally get checks from a woman who called herself her name was Rebecca. So that's absolutely true. It was on like video. So it's like, okay, like whatever. totally normal thing to see. So yeah, I saw some of the old favorites out there, but there's just too many people, and there's not going to be what they're looking for. And by the way, a lot of them aren't showing up. I don't know if you guys follow, oh man, I should have loaded this up, but Phil Williams, he's a great reporter, one of the best. He's over at one of the affiliates in Tennessee. I think it might be an NBC affiliate, but so this guy who's been covering the radical right and neo-Nazis and just like has been killing it out there. He's covering one of the protests. He said he had gotten a tip that there were going to be these white supremacists there, but there's no one there. And that's as someone who covers extremism. That's what I'm observing too. They're not showing up at these things. You've seen a few counters maybe at the Tesla protests, but for the most part, you're really not seeing that. That's a good thing. They have the right to counter protests. The First Amendment, for the time being at least, protects, is still in existence. So they have the right to counter protest, but we're really not seeing that kind of activity. I have some theories on that. A friend of mine, we talk about being out in the street, what brings people out to the street, things that happen in COVID, et cetera. But, you know, a friend of mine said because they won the election, that sadly might be true, but who knows? Remember to like, comment, subscribe. I also think the after effects of the January 6th attack are still with us. So even though these pardons have come down, there's still when we talk about accountability, there's still in the back of these people's heads, there's a knowledge. I'm not talking about a normal protester. I'm talking about like the violent ones. There's still the knowledge that like, hey, I just got out of jail. I think I'm going to maybe step back for a while. And so that's why accountability is so important. So anyway, yeah, I'll a little later, I'll check on some of my favorite right-wing grifters. Darlene, thanks for the super chat. If you know what that is, go ahead and feel free to comment. By the way, I also have scheduled, I'm going to show you guys, if you're interested, how I located or geolocated. It's really just a fancy term of saying how I located using a map and a computer and a little bit of free time, how I located a stream, the scene of a right-wing streamer's auto accident. This guy named Sonal, who I'm not super familiar with, he crashed his car and tried to hide his location. So I went ahead and located. I thought maybe it'd be fun to teach a little workshop about what's called OSINT, how we locate things. And that could be really useful. What else? Oh, if I didn't say it, please like, comment, subscribe. And we launched channel memberships. So for $3 a month, which is, I think, pretty fair, you can. Someone just started a giant loud motorcycle outside without fail. You can support this channel. So appreciate you guys. Yeah, without fail in this city in Los Angeles, there's always some kind of noise, distraction. I heard. So our protests out here, by the way, don't start till, in true LA fashion. First of all, they start at 4:00. I don't know where that came from. So that's like 7:00 on the East Coast. And they're going to be at Pershing Square, which is downtown. There was supposed to be another big one a little closer to where I am, but that one, I think they all folded into Pershing Square. Those protests down there, a lot of the activist community out here will kind of like talk a little negatively about having protests down there. I mean, they're fine. It attracts attention. It attracts media, and it's easy for like media, I think some media to get to. So they have offices in that area. But in terms of it, it depends on what you think the point of a protest is. What I'm seeing and what I'm really encouraged to see is that people are really like speaking their truth, their voice all across the country. And I was looking at clips on X, and there's just people everywhere. I mean, not just the big cities, right? You're just seeing random, if your town has 3,000 people and there's like 200 out there, I mean, that's really cool. And that's what I'm seeing. So anyway, if you guys are just coming in, if you went, I'd be really interested to hear from your experience. I think ideally I would have done this a little later because I know basically these protests are still going on, but I just, this is the time that I had to do it. So super cool, super interesting. Wish I could be out there. Beck said Michigan had about 40 planned for today. 40 protests. Wow. I mean, that's incredible. 40 for, a single state. Now, what happens after this? Maybe sometimes it's not good to think too far ahead. An interesting comment. By the way, appreciate the people. I want to say this too. Appreciate the people who are coming in from Twitch, slowly starting to build up a following there. And that is pretty cool. So I want to thank you guys for that. Twitch is an interesting platform too, because it kind of it sets kind of goals or metrics, and I don't know. It's kind of encouraging to see that. It's like, you did this, and forgot to silence my phone. So it kind of my apologies. Oh, nothing important. I can tell you that. Definitely nothing important. Just an email or something. So anyway, it's really great to see people out there, man. It's like super encouraging. So what I was going to say was we have on April 12th, Bernie Sanders, AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and Neil Young are going to be having a big rally here in LA, Graham Park. I think I read the doors open at 9 a.m. So that's something I definitely want to see and try to go to. That's going to be a big one. I think the theme is fighting oligarchs, so something we can all get behind. Anyway, it is very cool to be on Twitch. I'll just say that again. It's a different. I know it's like a gaming platform, but Hassan Piker is on there, Hassanabi, and as I learn how to do this, I'm really interested in seeing how the people who are the best do it, and I know that he does it. They also, I'll just say this, and then I'll move on. Twitch had a thing for a while where I think they didn't allow multi-streaming, which is kind of like a bummer when you're trying to build a following, and I think they've changed that. So they were trying to keep things, proprietary. All right, let's see what we got. I loaded up some clips here. I mean, I could just, wow. Yeah, let's just throw in a few. We got, there's so many people out there today. All right, we'll go with this one first. So we got Jack Forrest. This is the scene at the Monroe County Courthouse in Bloomington. Jack's great. Looks like he's still in journalism school, reporting for IDS News. Thanks, Jack, for posting this. This is the scene at the Monroe County Courthouse in Bloomington. Hundreds are out in the rain for the nationwide hands-off protests. Let's see what we got here.
When we can finally have universal health care with this funding, we can finally have universal pre-K with this funding, we can finally have school lunches free for every student in America.
I did not expect that side. My apologies. Not that there's anything to apologize for, but that's if you're the more Puritan type, I apologize.
When we can finally have universal health.
All right, it was a short clip. Jack, thanks for posting that. Let's see what else we got. That was funny. I'm still trying to navigate the interface here. It's not bad. I think you just need a better. That's not it. All right, what do we got here? Mary Spacuzza. Mary's a reporter over at Milwaukee Journey Sentinel. Awesome. The scene outside the federal courthouse in downtown Milwaukee. Seems like courthouses are a popular place for these protests, which I can completely understand because that's our justice system is really failing in a lot of ways and is not doing what it's supposed to do, which is act as an institution that acts as a check and balance on other institutions, right? That's the whole point of three branches of government. Awesome. That one's, I'm sure, going to get flagged by YouTube's copy. I probably should have listened to more of these before. I didn't have enough time, so I just started grabbing the clips. I have to go ahead and probably silence that one later. Hey, let's watch another one. What else do we got here? There's a ton of them. We got Anarchy Princess in Philly. Let's check this one out. Philly don't like fascists. I love this. I feel all warm inside, In fact, I'm going to play that from the beginning. Anarchy Princess, thanks for posting this. I'm literally having an actual physical reaction to this. I just love this so much. I'm going to play it one more time, and then we'll move on. It's so great. Look at all those people. So you guys get it. Let's do one more. And if you have any, send me the links. I think people are probably still out there. So what's this one? We got Michigan. Oh, Portland. Perfect. Colin Rees, thousands out in Portland, Maine, demanding Trump and the GOP get their hands off our social services, democracy, and our climate. Looks like Colin is an activist. It's like DSA Maine shut down DC. Colin, thanks for posting this.
Hands up! 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 Hands up!
Wow. So cool. So what do you guys think? I'd be interested. Ingrid, hey. Yeah, I literally just played a clip from Portland. Yeah, I don't know if you just saw that. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming into the conversation, the chat. Yeah, it looked like they had at least a few thousand people there. I can play it again if you just jumped in. Let me see if I could pull that up again. Of course, I don't know if you mean Portland, Maine or Portland, Oregon. That was Portland, Maine. Yeah, I'll play it one more time. Thousands out in Portland, Maine, demanding Trump and the GOP get their hands off.
Hands up! 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 Hands up!
So yeah, it's a great day. I'm interested to hear anyone's thoughts. You know, who was out there. I loaded up a couple clips, but about other things. But this is really what I want to talk about in the 45 minutes I have available before I got to be out the door. It's really good. News coverage seems good. I know Axios, I pulled up an article, so they are, you know, everyone's covering this obviously, but oops, let's not do that again. Yesterday I went black screen for a second. Oregon, perfect. Yeah, Portland, Oregon, traditionally they have some crazy protests there. One of my friends was literally in the middle of a gunfight during a protest. Sean Beckner, Carr Mitchell at Catwood News. He was covering a protest and some guy just like opened fire. It was scary. It's like, man, when he came back to LA, I was like, you know, because we all cover protests. We were like, the other reporters were like, man, this is crazy. Like I thought LA was crazy. Ingrid said, I Googled it, a lot going on in Oregon. There must be. Yeah, that city can get pretty wild. But it's great to see that people are out there expressing themselves. Let me go ahead and pull up that headline from Axios real quick. Everybody's covering it, obviously, but so yeah, in photos, hands off protest rally against Trump across the U.S. by April Rubin and Lauren Floyd. Wow, look at that. The National Mall. What do you think? Maybe, what do you think, 20,000? No, it's more than that. It's got to be more than that, right? Protesters across the U.S. rallying as part of the hands-off movement on Saturday are taking to the streets, state capitals, federal buildings, congressional offices to protest the Trump administration. And Doge, a fake government agency that is destroying people's lives. I try to keep things positive, but that is literally a made-up government agency. Doesn't exist. It's a Twitter account. X, excuse me. So that's really what I wanted to talk about, guys, and kind of wish you the best. I'll let me see if there's any other, okay, yeah, a couple other things I wanted to flag while we're in here together having this conversation. And like I said, next week I'll try to do my best to cover the Bernie Sanders, AOC, Neil Young rally, a big one happening in LA. The doors open at 9 a.m. I think that's going to be something to see. The only thing that's tough about in terms of live coverage is that something like that's going to attract so many people that the cell signals get really bad. So streaming is tough. That might have to be I don't know. I could film it maybe and post it later, or you can always follow me on X or Blue Sky, but mostly I post on X. I know a lot of people don't like X, but as I've talked about, the reality is like I have to be on there because that's still where a lot of me, as you just saw from me posting those clips, a lot of media reporters still use it. So it is what it is. You can find me on X at ericlevai. I just put that in the chat. Just my first and last name. I'm going to go ahead and flag just a couple things real quick, and then I think it's likely that we'll wrap this up. Oh, you know what? I actually did kind of want to play this other really cool clip from Ryan Grimm. Flagged this. I think this is either his father or maybe his grandfather down at the Villages. You guys might know that place. It's basically a retirement community in Florida. Ryan Grimm, strong showing of hands-off protesters at the Villages in Florida, a GOP stronghold. That's true. Video courtesy of George Grimm.
Here we are at the rally, beeping at the cars going by.
By the way, I love the golf cart. Classic. Love it.
Here we are.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Ingrid said Neil Young. Yep, Neil Young. There's going to be a bunch of people at the LA rally as well. The theme is Beck said I tagged you in a clip on Twitter. Awesome, Beck. Thank you. And Ingrid said, wow, just saw there's going to be at the East Coast too. I love the Pacific Northwest. Thanks, Beck. Real quick, I'm just going to take a look at the clip that you tagged me in. Oh boy! So according to the clip, there was allegedly a Trump supporter waving an assault rifle. That's not good. Beck, thanks a lot for tagging me. Really appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and watch that a little later and just check it out. And then, yeah, anybody feel free to tag me in something that's a lot of what we worry about as a, like an extremism investigator. We'd always, man, you're always kind of like looking for when those things start to happen. And people who do that, this country it's really like it's a powder keg, right? Like, and it just takes it takes usually two people to really set things off, but it can obviously be one. But that's exactly what we don't want. And for the most part, like I said in the beginning of this show, I've actually been happy to see that. I talked about this with a friend the other day, where this is LA specific, kind of, but we were talking about like those of us who do this work, and this extends to all journalists or activists or whoever out here. I believe that even for the time being, with things that have happened, we have made the world a safer place. I'm saying that because this city was full for the last 4 or 5 years. It was like starting in 2018, 2019. The streets were filled with violent fascists who would attack people and hurt them. I could tell you guys, crazy stories. And for the last, more or less, ever since the attack on the U.S. Capitol and the accountability that started, despite what happened later with the pardons, the streets have been a lot safer. These people are gone. Many of their lives have been wrecked. I'm talking many of the right-wing extremists out here. They moved out of LA. They're gone. They don't come out to the street. There's no more masks, any of that nonsense. The plate carriers and all that bullshit. Because they learn what accountability is. Maybe it's only temporary, but for the time being, the world is a little safer, at least in this city, and that matters. So I was talking to a friend about that, another researcher. The work did matter, even if it was only for a little while. And I hope it wasn't just for a little while. Beck, thanks for tagging me in that clip. The other stuff I just wanted to flag here is, let me go ahead and pull this up. Just a couple things. And again, remember to like, comment, subscribe. And if you want to support the channel, like Ingrid, one of our channel members, appreciate you. You guys can sign up for the low price of $3 a month. What else do we have here? All right, this was posted last night. I wanted to flag it. It's by whoa. Okay. Perfect. It's People's City Council. But where is I see the post. Bro, this show really 100% needs a producer. Okay. People's City Council, which is a big activist group, flagged the post by Poppy Press, which is an independent journalism group from UCLA. I'm not super familiar with them, but I know People's City Council pretty well. They do excellent work. Anyway, so it looks like the revoking visas has now come to California. While the articles haven't been specific, it's almost certainly people who are involved in pro-Palestine activism or may have been arrested in that. Again, we don't know for sure. The Daily Bruin is covering this as well. So the post, there are confirmed reports of over a dozen international students' visa revocations across the UCs, including at UCLA. Allegedly, students have been notified by their International Student Center by email or through a portal. So basically what I want to put out there is if safely you can communicate with me, you can contact me at ericlevai at proton.me. You can also use the Signal app. You would contact EML.07 if you want to talk, if you want to tell your story. But you should only do that if you can do it safely. It's important to say now. So I'm sorry to see that happening out here. Again, they're not getting specific. The school issued kind of what I would describe as it's not the worst statement I've ever seen, but if you guys have followed the attack that occurred at the pro-Palestine encampment and how the school did nothing, essentially. This is not a school that appears to really care much about protecting its own students. I don't have kids. If I had kids, I wouldn't want to know like what college I would want to send them to, knowing that your kid is not going to be protected by these schools like Columbia, UCLA. This is I don't want to use the word opening. That sounds weird, but this is almost like an opportunity, maybe a better word, for a college that does actually stand up for American values to say, hey, like we're going to push back against something like this, and your student will be safe here. I mean, I hate to put it in those terms, but it is an opportunity for a small school to stand up for what's right. They're threatening them based on, some of it is denying federal funding when these schools like Columbia can get by without it with these huge endowments. It's crazy. What are they worried about? Going to jail? Well, who the fuck isn't? You think that's something I don't think about? Like, I'm not like some, I don't know, I'm not like some big shot or something, but like, you think that's something I don't think about almost every day? About the risks that anything comes with right now in this country? Who cares? What's the point of even doing this if you're not, like, that's just part of this whole thing. That's part of it. You do it or you don't do it. Some of my heroes, Alexei Navalny, rest in peace, Joshua Wong, Hong Kong activist, a brilliant activist. I don't know. There's so many. Dr. King. I don't know. All great activists are my heroes. Well, and the nameless ones, the ones we don't know. What do you think this is? I mean, these administrators, like, what do you think it was going to be? I feel that way about journalists too. Like some of them who are, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, it's true of the Department of Justice too. When you took these jobs, what did you think it was going to be? What, you just, like they say in The Departed, right? Like, what, you thought you just want to be on TV, carry a badge and gun? I mean, what did you think it was going to be? This is what it is. That's the way I feel about it. If you're gonna do this, and today, millions of people are standing up for their values. They're putting themselves out there. That's what it's all about. Because we stand together or nothing. It's like Bruce Springsteen says, nobody wins unless everybody wins, right? What else did I want to talk about? So we talked about UCLA, the students, and the other UC schools. I actually think that was there was one other thing that was important that I wanted to put out there. Oh, yeah, definitely this. And then I'm going to wrap this up. Jeff Tischhauser, I've never met Jeff in person. I think we've maybe talked a little bit. Jeff is a great researcher at SPLC and covers a lot of the same stuff I cover. And yesterday I was thinking about bringing it back to what are people afraid of, right? Like Roosevelt said, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. And then Jeff posted this, and I was like, wow, you just summed up exactly what I was thinking about. Let me go ahead and pull that up here. And I'll give a little warning here. This picture is a little disturbing. You'll see what I mean. Picture of Trump. My apologies. Wait, actually, yeah, let's just zoom in here. Yikes. Jeff is a really good researcher. Like I just like looking at this picture, I'm just like, what? Oh my God. I apologize, by the way. All right, look at the caption. This is the point. The most powerful people in the world are scared of this thing. I mean, that's something to think about. The most powerful people in the world are scared of this thing. A broken down buffoon. Beck said zoom into the belly button. Should I bring it up again? Destroy my audience's eyes. This broken down criminal. They're afraid of him. What are you afraid of? For 8 years, I've been wondering this. What are you afraid of? I mean, I'm not stupid. We talked about what the risks and consequences are, but the emperor has no clothes, literally. Like, what are you afraid of? The man is a fool. He's an idiot, a buffoon. Let's share it again. Let's share. Beck said zoom into the. I apologize, by the way. Please do not unsubscribe from this. Bro. Beck, you know what? I don't think I can do it. I don't have it in me. I have a lot in me in terms of what I'm willing to withstand, but I don't think I can handle that. What is going on in this country? Bro. I'm going to have to tell Jeff about that. Beck said it's all right. Yeah, Hell said yikes. Yeah, yikes. Yikes. What happened in this country, man? People are afraid of that. Come on now. All right, guys, remember to like, comment, subscribe. If you just came in, go back and watch, from the beginning today. We talked mostly about the hands-off protest, played a bunch of clips. Like, comment, subscribe, share this video if you like, and you could follow me on YouTube, Twitch, trying to build that up As always, you can follow me on Blue Sky. I'm really everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, which I don't use as much. So we can keep pushing out something positive and something that matters. You can join the channel again, become a member. Upcoming events. So the way I'm structuring things now, I'm trying to do an interview every Sunday, and then ambitiously, I'm trying to do this once a week. I know that listening to somebody just talk alone is not quite as interesting, but you gotta start somewhere, right? You gotta start somewhere. So I've spent a lot of time in the last, as a professional journalist, I write mostly, right? But occasionally I would appear on a show, like I was on the Daily Show podcast, and I was like, man, this is like, honestly, like way more like fun. And I was like, maybe I should be doing this instead. I've all over the years I've done this stuff and I hosted podcasts, but there's a more immediate gratification with this kind of thing. More immediate than with writing is lonely and it's by yourself. And so remember to like, comment, subscribe. Hope you guys have a great day and be well. You take care.